Hello, ladies, and welcome to our new Bible reading series. I'm Cindra Enlow from HeavenlyPlace.com, and this year, as we read through the Bible, we'll explore God's incredible story of love and redemption. If you're looking for a Bible reading plan that's simple and doable, this is it. So let's get started and discover the heart of God together, one chapter at a time. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to our one-year Bible reading plan. This is week 37, day 5. And our scheduled reading for today is Daniel chapters 3 through 7. And if you know the Bible even just a little bit, these stories are all going to be familiar to you. We're going to see the Hebrew boys in the fiery furnace who refused to bow down before the golden image. And then in chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar has another dream. And because of his pride, he's humbled and lives in the wilderness for 7 years, becoming no better than an animal, a wild animal. Chapter 5, the writing on the wall with the new king Belshazzar, that God warns him that he will perish that very night. And of course, then another king is set up, and he honors Daniel, and jealousy runs through the kingdom. And so in chapter 6, we read about Daniel in the lion's den. Chapter 7, we see Daniel's vision of 4 strange beasts that represents the kingdoms that will rise and fall. But in the end, one like the Son of Man comes with the clouds and is given an everlasting kingdom. Does that sound familiar? Jesus uses this very title for himself. And here's where we see the heart of God. We see that he doesn't just rescue his people, but he rules over history. We're not left out here just to face the circumstances. God has a plan. He lifts the kings and he takes them down. But his kingdom will never end. And another thing we can take from this reading is that God is there even in the fire, even in the trials. Okay, ladies, let's begin our reading today. Daniel chapters 3 through 7.
The Book of Daniel. Chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide. He put it up in the valley of Dura, in the land of Babylon. And Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to get together all the captains, the chiefs, the rulers, the wise men, the keepers of public money, the judges, the overseers, and all the rulers of the divisions of the country, to come to see the unveiling of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had put up. Then the captains, the chiefs, the rulers, the wise men, the keepers of public money, the judges, the overseers, and all the rulers of the divisions of the country, came together to see the unveiling of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had put up. And they took their places before the image which Nebuchadnezzar had put up. Then one of the king's scribes said in a loud voice, "To you the order is given, O peoples, nations, and languages, that when the sound of the horn, pipe, harp, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all sorts of instruments, comes to your ears, you are to go down on your faces in worship before the image of gold which Nebuchadnezzar the king has put up. And anyone not falling down and worshipping will that same hour be put into a burning and flaming fire." So at that time, all the people, when the sound of the horn, pipe, harp, trigon, psaltery, and all sorts of instruments, came to their ears, went down on their faces in worship before the image of gold which Nebuchadnezzar the king had put up. At that time certain Chaldeans came near and made a statement against the Jews. They made answer and said to Nebuchadnezzar the king, "O king, have life forever. You, O king, have given an order that every man, when the sound of the horn, pipe, harp, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all sorts of instruments, comes to his ears, is to go down on his face and worship before the image of gold, and anyone not falling down and worshipping is to be put into a burning and flaming fire. There are certain Jews whom you have put over the business of the land of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men have not given attention to you, O king. They are not servants of your gods or worshippers of the gold image which you have put up." Then Nebuchadnezzar in his wrath and passion gave orders for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to be sent for. Then they made these men come in before the king. Nebuchadnezzar made answer and said to them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you will not be servants of my God or give worship to the image of gold which I have put up? Now if you are ready, on hearing the sound of the horn, pipe, harp, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all sorts of instruments, to go down on your faces in worship before the image which I have made, it is well. But if you will not give worship, that same hour you will be put into a burning and flaming fire. And what God is there who will be able to take you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, answering Nebuchadnezzar the king, said, There is no need for us to give you an answer to this question. If our God, whose servants we are, is able to keep us safe from the burning and flaming fire, and from your hands, O king, he will keep us safe. But if not, be certain, O king, that we will not be the servants of your gods, or give worship to the image of gold which you have put up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of wrath, and the form of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and he gave orders that the fire was to be heated up 7 times more than it was generally heated. And he gave orders to certain strong men in his army to put cords on Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego and put them into the burning and flaming fire. Then these men had cords put round them as they were, in their coats, their trousers, their hats, and their clothing, and were dropped into the burning and flaming fire. And because the king's order was not to be put on one side, and the heat of the fire was so great, the men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were burned to death by the flame of the fire. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, with the cords about them, went down into the burning and flaming fire. Then King Nebuchadnezzar, full of fear and wonder, got up quickly, and said to his wise men, Did we not put 3 men in cords into the fire? And they made answer and said to the king, True, O king. He made answer and said, Look, I see 4 men loose, walking in the middle of the fire, and they are not damaged, and the form of the 4th is like a son of the gods. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near the door of the burning and flaming fire. He made answer and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of the Most High God, come out and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. And the captains, the chiefs, and the rulers, and the king's wise men who had come together, saw these men, over whose bodies the fire had no power, and not a hair of their heads was burned, and their coats were not changed, and there was no smell of fire about them. Nebuchadnezzar made answer and said, Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and kept his servants safe. You had faith in him, and who put the king's word on one side and gave up their bodies to the fire, so that they might not be servants or worshippers of any other god but their God. And it is my decision that any people, nation, or language saying evil against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, will be cut to bits and their houses made waste, because there is no other God who is able to give salvation such as this. Then the king gave Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego even greater authority in the land of Babylon. Chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar the king, to all the peoples, nations, and languages living in all the earth, may your peace be increased. It has seemed good to me to make clear the signs and wonders which the Most High God has done with me. How great are his signs, and how full of power are his wonders. His kingdom is an eternal kingdom, and his rule goes on from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my place, and all things were going well for me in my great house. I saw a dream which was a cause of great fear to me. I was troubled by the images of my mind on my bed, and by the visions of my head. And I gave orders for all the wise men of Babylon to come in before me so that they might make clear to me the sense of my dream. Then the wonder-workers, the users of secret arts, the Chaldeans, and the readers of signs came in to me, and I put the dream before them, but they did not make clear the sense of it to me. But at last Daniel came in before me, he whose name was Belshazzar, after the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods, and I put the dream before him, saying, O Belteshazzar, master of the wonder-workers, because I am certain that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and you are troubled by it no secret, this is the dream which I saw, make clear to me its sense. On my bed I saw a vision, there was a tree in the middle of the earth, and it was very high, and the tree became tall and strong, stretching up to heaven, and to be seen from the ends of the earth. Its leaves were fair and it had much fruit, and in it was food enough for all. The beasts of the field had shade under it, and the birds of heaven were resting in its branches, and it gave food to all living things. In the visions of my head on my bed I saw a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven, crying out with a loud voice. And this is what he said, let the tree be cut down and its branches broken off, let its leaves be taken off and its fruit sent in every direction, let the beasts get away from under it and the birds from its branches, but keep its broken end and its roots still in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass. Let him have the young grass of the field for food, and let him be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his part be with the beasts. Let his heart be changed from that of a man, and the heart of a beast be given to him, and let 7 times go by him. This order is fixed by the watchers, and the decision is by the word of the holy ones, so that the living may be certain that the Most High is ruler over the kingdom of men, and gives it to any man at his pleasure, lifting up over it the lowest of men. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, saw, and do you, O Belteshazzar, make clear the sense of it, for all the wise men of my kingdom are unable to make the sense of it clear to me, but you are able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was at a loss for a time, his thoughts troubling him. The king made answer and said, Belteshazzar, do not be troubled by the dream or by the sense of it. Belteshazzar, answering, said, My lord, may the dream be about your haters, and its sense about those who are against you. The tree which you saw, which became tall and strong, stretching up to heaven and seen from the ends of the earth, which had fair leaves and much fruit, and had in it food for all, under which the beasts of the field were living, and in the branches of which the birds of heaven had their resting places. It is you, O king, who have become great and strong, for your power is increased and stretching up to heaven, and your rule to the end of the earth. And as for the vision which the king saw of a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven, saying, Let the tree be cut down and given to destruction, this is the sense of it, O king, and it is the decision of the Most High which has come on my lord the king, that they will send you out from among men, to be with the beasts of the field. They will give you grass for your food like the oxen, and you will be wet with the dew of heaven, and 7 times will go by you, till you are certain that the Most High is ruler in the kingdom of men, and gives it to any man at his pleasure. And as they gave orders to let the broken end and the roots of the tree be, so your kingdom will be safe for you after it is clear to you that the heavens are ruling. For this cause, O king, let my suggestion be pleasing to you, and let your sins be covered by righteousness and your evil-doing by mercy to the poor, so that the time of your well-being may be longer. All this came to King Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months he was walking on the roof of his great house in Babylon. The king made answer and said, Is this not great Babylon, which I have made for the living place of kings, by the strength of my power and for the glory of my honor? While the word was still in the king's mouth, a voice came down from heaven, saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is said, the kingdom has gone from you, and they will send you out from among men, to be with the beasts of the field. They will give you grass for your food like the oxen, and 7 times will go by you, till you are certain that the Most High is ruler in the kingdom of men, and gives it to any man at his pleasure. That very hour the order about Nebuchadnezzar was put into effect, and he was sent out from among men, and had grass for his food like the oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hair became long as eagle's feathers and his nails like those of birds. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifting up my eyes to heaven, got back my reason, and, blessing the Most High, I gave praise and honor to him who is living forever, whose rule is an eternal rule and whose kingdom goes on from generation to generation. And all the people of the earth are as nothing, He does his pleasure in the army of heaven and among the people of the earth, and no one is able to keep back his hand, or say to him, "What are you doing?" At the same time my reason came back to me, and for the glory of my kingdom, my honor and my great name came back to me, and my wise men and my lords would turn to me again, and I was made safe in my kingdom and had more power than before. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, give worship and praise and honor to the King of heaven, for all his works are true and his ways are right, and those who go in pride he is able to make low. Chapter 5. Belshazzar the king made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords, drinking wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, while he was overcome with wine, gave orders for them to put before him the gold and silver vessels which Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had taken from the temple in Jerusalem, so that the king and his lords, his wives and his other women, might take their drink from them. Then they took in the gold and silver vessels which had been in the temple of the house of God at Jerusalem, and the king and his lords, his wives and his other women, took wine from them. They took their wine and gave praise to the gods of gold and silver, of brass and iron and wood and stone. In that very hour the fingers of a man's hand were seen, writing opposite the support for the light on the white wall of the king's house, and the king saw the part of the hand which was writing. Then the color went from the king's face, and he was troubled by his thoughts, strength went from his body, and his knees were shaking. The king, crying out with a loud voice, said that the users of secret arts, the Chaldeans, and the readers of signs, were to be sent for. The king made answer and said to the wise men of Babylon, "Whoever is able to make out this writing, and make clear to me the sense of it, will be clothed in purple and have a chain of gold round his neck, and will be a ruler of high authority in the kingdom." Then all the king's wise men came in, but they were not able to make out the writing or give the sense of it to the king. Then King Belshazzar was greatly troubled and the color went from his face, and his lords were at a loss. The queen, because of the words of the king and his lords, came into the house of the feast. The queen made answer and said, "O king, have life forever, do not be troubled by your thoughts or let the color go from your face. There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods, and in the days of your father, light and reason like the wisdom of the gods were seen in him, and King Nebuchadnezzar, your father, made him master of the wonder-workers, and the users of secret arts, and the Chaldeans, and the readers of signs, because a most special spirit, and knowledge and reason and the power of reading dreams and unfolding dark sayings and answering hard questions, were seen to be in him, even in Daniel, named Belteshazzar by the king. Now let Daniel be sent for, and he will make clear the sense of the writing." Then they took Daniel in before the king. The king made answer and said to Daniel, "So you are that Daniel, of the prisoners of Judah, whom my father took out of Judah. And I have had news of you, that the spirit of the gods is in you, and that light and reason and special wisdom have been seen in you. And now the wise men, the users of secret arts, have been sent in before me for the purpose of reading this writing and making clear to me the sense of it, but they are not able to make clear the sense of the thing, and I have had news of you, that you have the power of making things clear, and of answering hard questions. Now if you are able to make out the writing and give me the sense of it, you will be clothed in purple and have a gold chain round your neck and be a ruler of high authority in the kingdom." Then Daniel made answer and said to the king, "Keep your offerings for yourself, and give your rewards to another, but I, after reading the writing to the king, will give him the sense of it. As for you, O king, the Most High God gave to Nebuchadnezzar, your father, the kingdom and great power and glory and honor, and because of the great power he gave him, all peoples and nations and languages were shaking in fear before him. Some he put to death and others he kept living, at his pleasure, lifting up some and putting others down as it pleased him. But when his heart was lifted up and his spirit became hard with pride, he was put down from his place as king, and they took his glory from him, and he was sent out from among the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and he was living with the asses of the fields. He had grass for his food like the oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he was certain that the Most High is ruler in the kingdom of men, and gives power over it to anyone at his pleasure. And you, his son, O Belshazzar, have not kept your heart free from pride, though you had knowledge of all this, but you have been lifting yourself up against the Lord of heaven. They have put the vessels of his house before you, and you and your lords, your wives and your women, have taken wine in them. And you have given praise to gods of silver and gold, of brass and iron and wood and stone, who are without the power of seeing or hearing, and without knowledge, and to the God in whose hand your breath is, and whose are all your ways, you have not given glory. Then the part of the hand was sent out from before him, and this writing was recorded. And this is the writing which was recorded: Mena, Tekel, Perez. This is the sense of the words: Mena, your kingdom has been numbered by God and ended. Tekel, you have been put in the scales and seen to be underweight. Perez, your kingdom has been cut up and given to the Medes and Persians. Then, by the order of Belshazzar, they put a purple robe on Daniel, and a gold chain round his neck, and a public statement was made that he was to be a ruler of high authority in the kingdom. That very night Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, was put to death, and Darius the Mede took the kingdom, being then about 62 years old. Chapter 6. Darius was pleased to put over the kingdom 120 captains, who were to be all through the kingdom, and over them were 3 chief rulers, of whom Daniel was one, and the captains were to be responsible to the chief rulers, so that the king might undergo no loss. Then this Daniel did his work better than the chief rulers and the captains, because there was a special spirit in him, and it was the king's purpose to put him over all the kingdom. Then the chief rulers and the captains were looking for some cause for putting Daniel in the wrong in connection with the kingdom, but they were unable to put forward any wrongdoing or error against him, because he was true, and no error or wrong was to be seen in him. Then these men said, "We will only get a reason for attacking Daniel in connection with the law of his God." Then these chief rulers and the captains came to the king and said to him, "O King Darius, have life forever." All the chief rulers of the kingdom, the chiefs and the captains, the wise men and the rulers, have made a common decision to put in force a law having the king's authority, and to give a strong order, that whoever makes any request to any god or man but you, O king, for 30 days, is to be put into the lion's hole. Now, O king, put the order in force, signing the writing so that it may not be changed, like the law of the Medes and Persians, which may not come to an end. For this reason King Darius put his name on the writing and the order, and Daniel, on hearing that the writing had been signed, went into his house. Now he had windows in his room on the roof opening in the direction of Jerusalem, and 3 times a day he went down on his knees in prayer and praise before his God, as he had done before. Then these men were watching and saw Daniel making prayers and requesting grace before his God. Then they came near before the king and said, "O king, have you not put your name to an order that any man who makes a request to any god or man but you, O king, for 30 days, is to be put into the lion's hole?" The king made answer and said, "The thing is fixed by the law of the Medes and Persians, which may not come to an end." Then they made answer and said before the king, "Daniel, one of the prisoners of Judah, has no respect for you, O king, or for the order signed by you, but 3 times a day he makes his prayer to God." When this thing came to the king's ears, it was very evil to him, and his heart was fixed on keeping Daniel safe. Until the going down of the sun he was doing everything in his power to get him free. Then these men said to the king, "Be certain, O king, that by the law of the Medes and Persians no order or law which the king has put into force may be changed." Then the king gave the order, and they took Daniel and put him into the lion's hole. The king made answer and said to Daniel, "Your God, whose servant you are at all times, will keep you safe." Then they got a stone and put it over the mouth of the hole, and it was stamped with the king's stamp and with the stamp of the Lord's, so that the decision about Daniel might not be changed. Then the king went to his great house, and took no food that night, and no was played before him, and his sleep went from him. Then very early in the morning the king got up and went quickly to the lion's hole. And when he came near the hole where Daniel was, he gave a loud cry of grief. The king made answer and said to Daniel, "O Daniel, servant of the living God, is your God, whose servant you are at all times, able to keep you safe from the lions?" Then Daniel said to the king, "O king, have life forever. My God has sent his angel to keep the lions' mouths shut, and they have done me no damage, because I was seen to be without sin before him, and further, before you, O king, I have done no wrong." Then the king was very glad, and gave orders for them to take Daniel up out of the hole. So Daniel was taken up out of the hole, and he was seen to be untouched, because he had faith in his God. And at the king's order, they took those men who had said evil against Daniel, and put them in the lion's hole, with their wives and their children. And they had not got to the floor of the hole before the lions overcame them, and all their bones were broken. Then King Darius sent a letter to all the peoples, nations, and languages, living in all the earth: "May your peace be increased. It is my order that in all the kingdom of which I am ruler, men are to be shaking with fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, unchanging forever, and his kingdom is one which will never come to destruction. His rule will go on to the end. He gives salvation and makes men free from danger, and does signs and wonders in heaven and earth, who has kept Daniel safe from the power of the lions." So this Daniel did well in the kingdom of Darius and in the kingdom of Cyrus the Persian. Chapter 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel saw a dream, and visions came into his head on his bed. Then he put the dream in writing. "I had a vision by night, and saw the four winds of heaven violently moving the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, different one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. While I was watching, its wings were pulled off, and it was lifted up from the earth and placed on 2 feet like a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And I saw another beast, like a bear, and it was lifted up on one side, and 3 side bones were in its mouth, between its teeth, and they said to it, 'Up, take much flesh.' After this I saw another beast, like a leopard, which had on its back 4 wings like those of a bird, and the beast had 4 heads, and the power of a ruler was given to it. After this, in my vision of the night, I saw a 4th beast, a thing causing fear and very troubling, full of power and very strong, and it had great iron teeth. It took its food, crushing some of it to bits and stamping down the rest with its feet. It was different from all the beasts before it, and it had 10 horns. I was watching the horns with care, and I saw another coming up among them, a little one, before which 3 of the first horns were pulled up by the roots, and there were eyes like a man's eyes in this horn, and a mouth saying great things. I went on looking till the seats of kings were placed, and one like a very old man took his seat. His clothing was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like clean wool. His seat was flames of fire and its wheels burning fire. A stream of fire was flowing and coming out from before him. 1,000 thousands were his servants, and 10,000 times 10,000 were in their places before him. The judge was seated and the books were open. Then I saw, because of the voice of the great words which the horn said, I saw till the beast was put to death, and its body was given to destruction, and the beast was given to the burning of fire. As for the rest of the beasts, their authority was taken away, but they let them go on living for a measure of time. I saw in visions of the night, and there was coming with the clouds of heaven one like a man, and he came to the one who was very old, and they took him near before him, and to him was given authority and glory and a kingdom, and all peoples, nations, and languages were his servants. His authority is an eternal authority which will not come to an end, and his kingdom is one which will not come to destruction. As for me, Daniel, my spirit was pained because of this, and the visions of my head were troubling me. I came near to one of those who were waiting there, questioning him about what all this was, and he said to me that he would make clear to me the sense of these things. These great beasts are 4 kings who will be cut off from the earth. But the saints of the Most High will take the kingdom, and it will be theirs forever, even forever and ever. Then it was my desire to have certain knowledge about the 4th beast, which was different from all the others, a cause of great fear, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, who took his food, crushing some of it to bits and stamping on the rest with his feet, and about the 10 horns on his head and the other which came up, causing the fall of 3, that horn which had eyes, and a mouth saying great things, which seemed to be greater than the other horns. And I saw how that horn made war on the saints and overcame them, till he came, who was very old. And the decision was made and the authority was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came when the saints took the kingdom. This is what he said: the fourth beast is a fourth kingdom which will come on earth, different from all the kingdoms, and it will overcome all the earth, crushing it down and smashing it. And as for the 10 horns, out of this kingdom 10 kings will come to power, and after them another will come up. He will be different from the first ones and will put down 3 kings. And he will say words against the Most High, attempting to put an end to the saints of the Most High, and he will have the idea of changing times and law, and the saints will be given into his hands for a time and times and half a time. But the judge will be seated, and they will put an end to his authority, to overcome it and send complete destruction on it. And the kingdom and the authority and the power of the kingdoms under all the heaven will be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. His kingdom is an eternal kingdom, and all powers will be his servants and do his pleasure. Here is the end of the account. As for me, Daniel, I was greatly troubled by my thoughts, and the color went from my face, but I kept the thing in my heart,